Here's something that probably sounds obvious, but most people completely ignore it. If you actually want to build wealth, if you actually want to reach a point where money isn't constantly stressing you out and you have real financial freedom, you're going to have to give up some things. Not forever, not necessarily, but at least for a while. And this is the part that people hate hearing because they want to have it all right now. They want to be wealthy and have the lifestyle of someone who's already wealthy, which doesn't actually work. My name is Nick, and I spend an embarrassing amount of time thinking about wealth building, financial psychology, and why most people say they want to be rich but aren't willing to make even the smallest sacrifices to actually get there. If you're serious about building wealth and you want to understand what it actually costs, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button if this ends up changing how you approach money. Let me start with something that sounds simple, but is actually the biggest sacrifice most people refuse to make. You have to give up the lifestyle you currently live. I know that sounds dramatic, but think about it for a second. If you're currently spending everything you earn, if your paycheck comes in and it all goes out to rent and food and your car payment and subscriptions and dining out and whatever else, then you're not building wealth. You're just treading water. To build wealth, you have to spend less than you earn and invest the difference. That's it. That's literally the foundation of every single person who's ever built substantial wealth. But here's the part that makes people uncomfortable. Spending less than you earn usually means your current lifestyle has to change. Maybe it means driving a used car instead of financing a new one. Maybe it means cooking dinner at home instead of eating out multiple times a week. Maybe it means a smaller apartment in a less trendy neighborhood. I'm not saying you should live like a monk or never enjoy anything, but most people are living at about 95% of their income and wondering why they can't get ahead. You can't have everything right now. You have to choose. Do you want the lifestyle today or do you want freedom later? Because you literally cannot have both. This is the sacrifice that separates people who build wealth from everyone else. And most people choose the lifestyle today without even realizing they're making that choice. They just keep spending money and wondering why they never seem to get ahead. The funny thing is, this doesn't have to be permanent. You're not sacrificing your lifestyle forever. You're sacrificing it for a specific period of time, maybe 5 years, maybe 10 years while you build that foundation. Once you've got substantial wealth accumulated, once your investments are generating enough income that you don't have to work, then you can upgrade your lifestyle. Then you can afford the nicer apartment or the newer car or whatever it is. But in the wealth building phase, which is where most people are, you can't have both. You have to pick one. The second sacrifice is convenience. And I mean all of it. The convenience of ordering food instead of cooking. The convenience of paying for someone to clean your house instead of doing it yourself. The convenience of subscription services and delivery fees and premium options. All of this convenience is incredibly expensive when you add it up. Look at your spending for the last month and be honest about how much you're paying for convenience. You're probably shocked, most people are. There's the food delivery. That $20 order becomes $35 when you add fees and tip. You're doing that maybe 3 or 4 times a week. That's over $500 a month just for the convenience of not cooking. Then there's the cleaning service, the laundry service, the grocery delivery, the rushed shipping because you need something today instead of waiting for free shipping. All of these things are saving you time, sure, but they're costing you serious money. And here's the thing that most people don't realize. If you're trying to build wealth and you're also paying for maximum convenience, you're fighting against yourself. You can't do both. Time is valuable, absolutely, but so is money. And when you're not yet wealthy, money has to take priority. You sacrifice convenience in favor of building the foundation that gives you real freedom later. The person who cooks at home instead of getting delivery, who does their own laundry instead of paying for a service, who plans their grocery shopping instead of paying for expedited delivery, they're making a choice. They're giving up convenience today to buy freedom tomorrow. Now, I'm not saying you have to suffer. I'm not saying you can never use a delivery service or pay for help, but if you're paying for convenience every single day while you're trying to build wealth, you're basically canceling yourself out. You earn the money and the convenience charges eat it. Then you wonder why you never get ahead. The person who makes all their own meals is saving hundreds of dollars a month compared to someone who gets food delivered constantly. That's money that could be invested. That's money that could be compounding. That's money that could be buying you freedom. This doesn't have to be permanent. Once you've built real wealth, you can absolutely pay for convenience without it destroying your finances. You can hire someone to clean your house. Like, you can get your groceries delivered. You can order food whenever you want. But in the wealth building phase, which is where most people are, it's a necessary sacrifice. You do the work yourself. You save the money. You invest the difference. That's how it works. Third sacrifice is immediate gratification. This is huge because it's so ingrained in how we live now. Everything is designed to be instant. You want something, you order it, you see something cool, you buy it, you think of a vacation, you book it. This entire culture of immediate gratification is one of the biggest barriers to wealth building. If you want to be wealthy, you have to be willing to delay gratification. This is such a basic concept, but it's incredibly hard to actually do because every single system around you is designed to make you buy things immediately. Companies have literally figured out how to make instant gratification the default. Amazon can deliver something to your house in 2 hours. Restaurants will bring food to your door. You can book a vacation in 30 seconds. The friction for spending money has been eliminated. The friction for saving money hasn't. So you have to manually create that friction. You have to force yourself to wait. You see something you want, and instead of buying it immediately, you wait. You give it 30 days, and if you still want it after 30 days, then you think about whether it fits into your wealth building plan. Usually you won't still want it, or you'll realize you don't actually need it. You'll find that you were just experiencing a temporary impulse and the wanting passed. The person who's willing to delay gratification while everyone else is buying constantly is going to be in a completely different financial position in 10 years. That restraint is a skill that's worth more than any investment strategy, because no investment strategy works if you're constantly pulling money out to buy things you don't need. Wealthy people aren't wealthy because they make more money than everyone else. Like, some of them don't. They're wealthy because they're willing to wait. They're willing to want something and not have it immediately. They're comfortable with delayed gratification for as long as it takes. Most people aren't. And that's the real difference. Fourth is status spending. And this one is probably the most insidious because it's so disguised. Status spending is when you buy things not because you need them or even really want them, but because you want people to think you're successful. Yeah, the designer handbag you can't really afford, but everyone will see. The luxury car you're financing, even though it's destroying your finances. The expensive watch that does the exact same thing as a $50 watch. The designer clothes that cost 5 times as much as basically identical clothes from a regular store. All of this is just trying to project an image of wealth to people who honestly don't care. Here's the thing about status spending that's so backwards. Actual wealthy people rarely do this. They don't need to prove anything to anyone. They're not trying to convince anyone they're successful because they already know they are. It's people who aren't wealthy but want to look wealthy who fall into this trap. And it's a trap because it's financial self-sabotage. You're spending money. You don't have to look rich to people who don't matter while you're actually getting poorer. You're going into debt to buy status symbols. You're destroying your financial future to impress people who barely know your name. That's the crazy part. If you want to build wealth, you have to give up this need to look successful. You have to be comfortable with people not knowing how much money you have. You have to be okay driving the used Honda while your neighbor drives the brand new BMW. You need to be okay wearing clothes from a regular store. while your coworkers wear designer brands. You have to be okay not having the things that make you look rich. This is a psychological sacrifice because it requires you to not care what other people think. And most people find that incredibly difficult, but it's absolutely necessary if you want to build real wealth. Every dollar you spend on status is a dollar that's not compounding into wealth. Every designer brand purchase is money that could have been invested. Every luxury item is opportunity cost. The math is simple. You can either look rich or be rich. For most people in the wealth building phase, you can't do both. Choose wealth. Fifth sacrifice is the illusion of choice. When you're building wealth, you have to get very intentional about your money. That means no more mindlessly browsing and buying, no more subscription services you don't use, no more options just because they're available. You have to ruthlessly cut everything that doesn't serve your financial goals. This means choosing one phone and keeping it for 5 years instead of upgrading every 2 years. It means choosing one streaming service instead of having 7 different ones that you pay for but barely use. It means choosing to buy generic instead of name brand and sticking with it. It means choosing to do things yourself instead of paying someone else to do them. Most people hate this because they like having options. They like the freedom of choice. They like being able to browse and pick whatever sounds best in the moment. But here's the reality. Every option costs money. Every choice point is an opportunity to spend money you don't have to spend. Every time you're deciding between multiple options, you're burning mental energy and often buying something you don't need. The person who makes one intentional choice and sticks with it is going to have way more money than the person who's constantly choosing between options and often upgrading or switching around. Think about how much money people spend just trying different things. Different phone plans, different internet providers, different gyms, different apps. They're constantly switching because they're looking for the perfect option. Meanwhile, the person who just picked something reasonable and stuck with it has saved thousands of dollars because they're not constantly switching and starting over. This is actually liberating once you accept it. You're not less free because you have fewer choices. You're actually more free because you're not wasting mental energy and money on constant decisions. You pick what makes sense for your financial goals and you move on. You stop shopping around for slightly better deals all the time. You stop upgrading every time something new comes out. You just commit to your choice and invest the money you save. That's the sacrifice. Giving up the illusion that more options equals more freedom. Actually, fewer options equals more money, which actually does equal more freedom. Sixth sacrifice is comparison. You're probably doing this right now without even realizing it. You're looking at other people's lives and measuring yours against theirs. That friend who travels all the time and posts those vacation photos from exotic locations, that coworker who has the nice apartment in the trendy neighborhood, that person on social media who seems to have their life completely figured out with the perfect career and the perfect lifestyle, and you feel behind. You feel like you should be further along. You feel like you're failing somehow. This comparison is incredibly destructive to wealth building because it makes you spend money you don't have. You see someone else's lifestyle and you want that for yourself immediately. So you put things on credit cards, you take on debt, you stop saving, you buy things you can't afford just to keep up. All because you're comparing your beginning to someone else's middle or end. And here's the thing that nobody talks about. That person posting vacation photos from Thailand probably has no savings. They're likely in debt. They're spending money. They don't have to create the appearance of having a perfect life. That coworker with the nice apartment is probably stressed about making rent and has roommates you don't know about. The person who seems to have it all figured out is probably living paycheck to paycheck just like everyone else, or worse. You have literally no idea what anyone else's financial situation actually is. They're not showing you their credit card statements. They're not showing you their debt. They're showing you the highlight reel, the one moment where everything looks perfect. And frankly, it doesn't matter what their situation is anyway. The only comparison that matters is comparing yourself to yourself. Are you better than you were a year ago? Are you saving more? Are you making smarter financial decisions? Are you closer to your wealth building goals? That's the only comparison that counts. If you want to build wealth, you have to give up the constant comparison to other people. You have to stop looking at other people's highlight reels and thinking that's reality. You have to get comfortable with the fact that your wealth building journey might not look like anyone else's, and that's fine. Your journey might be boring. You might be driving an old car while others drive new ones. You might be cooking at home while others are traveling. That's okay. That's the path to wealth. Most people can't do this. Most people stay stuck in comparison mode, constantly trying to keep up with people they don't actually know and never build real wealth because of it. Seventh sacrifice is quick wins. This is the one that hurts because it feels counterintuitive. Most people want to build wealth as fast as possible, so they look for quick wins. They get excited about some investment that's supposed to double their money. They want to find the secret to building wealth fast. They're attracted to cryptocurrency or meme stocks or some business opportunity that sounds like it could make them rich overnight. But here's the reality. Building real wealth isn't fast. It's boring. It's incredibly boring, actually. It's saving $500 a month for 30 years. It's investing in low-cost index funds and letting them sit and not checking the account every 5 minutes. It's not exciting. There are no quick wins. And if you're waiting for quick wins, if you're constantly looking for some opportunity that's going to make you rich overnight, you're actually going to stay poor. Because you'll spend your time and money chasing things that don't work instead of doing the boring stuff that actually does work. Think about how much time people waste trying to find the next big investment opportunity. They read blogs, they watch videos, they join Discord communities, they obsess over some penny stock or some new token. Meanwhile, the person who just invested in boring index funds and forgot about it is building real wealth while everyone else is playing around with excitement that leads nowhere. This is the sacrifice that separates people who actually build wealth from people who are always looking for the shortcut. You have to give up the idea that this should happen quickly. You have to accept that real wealth takes decades. And once you accept that, everything becomes easier because you stop wasting energy on quick wins that never materialize. You stop trying to pick the next Tesla. You stop trying to time the market. You stop trying to find the secret that only smart people know. You just start doing the boring stuff that actually works. Consistent saving, smart investing, compound interest. Those are the things that actually build wealth, and they take time. This sacrifice of speed, of quick wins, of excitement is maybe the most important one of all, because excitement is what sells. Excitement gets clicks. Excitement makes people watch videos and buy courses and try new things, but boring is what builds wealth. Boring wins. So here's what you're actually sacrificing if you want to build wealth. You're sacrificing your current lifestyle. You're sacrificing convenience. You're sacrificing immediate gratification. You're sacrificing the need to look successful. You're sacrificing the illusion of choice. You're sacrificing comparison to others, and you're sacrificing the idea that this should happen quickly. When you add all of that up, it sounds like you're giving up a lot. And you are. But here's what you're gaining. You're gaining financial freedom. You're gaining the ability to say no to things you don't want to do. You're gaining the peace of mind that comes from not being stressed about money all the time. You're gaining the option to take risks, to start a business, to go back to school, to take time off, to do things that actually matter to you instead of things you have to do. You're gaining the ability to help people you care about. You're gaining security, and you're gaining the ability to retire comfortably instead of working until you drop. That's what the sacrifices are for. Not so you can deprive yourself forever, not so you can feel superior to other people, but so that at some point you can stop sacrificing and actually enjoy the freedom that comes with having built real wealth. Most people won't make these sacrifices. Most people will keep living their current lifestyle and wondering why they never seem to get ahead. They'll keep buying convenience and status and quick wins and comparing themselves to others, and in 30 years they'll be in the same place or worse. But you could be different. You could make these sacrifices now so that 10 or 15 or 20 years from now, you're in a completely different situation. That choice is yours. The question is whether you're willing to make the sacrifices that actually matter.